The Gold Sheet has been the industry standard for providing NFL and college football betting information for the last 6 decades. WagerTalk is very proud to have acquired the Gold Sheet 3 years ago, and we took what was already an iconic product and made it even better. Get the football Gold Sheet for the entire season for only $129 by heading to goldsheet.com. Gold Sheet game write-ups are among the best in the industry, and we've now combined them with detailed statistical analysis in an easy-to-read, game-to-game format. Early bird pricing expires at midnight on Sunday, August 14th. Sign up now at goldsheet.com to subscribe for the entire NFL and college football season at less than $5 per issue. Don't miss out.
Asian Baseball Today time. I'm your host, Dan Alexander, and we are happy to be with you. Before we head on out to the Westgate in Las Vegas, the WagerTalk meet and greet is here. It is this week, and we couldn't be more excited. This Saturday, 5 to 9 at the Westgate Clubhouse in Las Vegas. We'll be there, and alongside me will be Tokyo Brandon, Adam Trigger. They're both making their arrangements. Brandon actually has to catch an international flight coming up here tonight. So, I'm not jealous of the 9.5 hours he'll be sitting in a metal tube. So enjoy that, Brandon. But before you head out, I know that you're excited to be heading here stateside, and you also have a 3-pack loaded up for people. Tell them about it, Brandon.
I do, and I'm extremely claustrophobic, so being in a metal tube is especially joyful for me. Always get the aisle seat and always sit towards the front of the plane. Not like that helps, but I do my best. Usually I just take sleeping pills and alcohol. So, I got a 3-pack loaded. It's $9 Monday, and WagerTalk lets us package everything together and sell the package for $9. So I got a 3-play package in Japanese baseball, and right before the show, I put out just 1 play in Korean in the KBO today, and that's also available for $9 as well. Still, the last 365, I'm the number 1 all-profit capper, although I didn't have a great week. Hoping to pick it up while I'm in Vegas rubbing shoulders with WagerTalk's finest.
Absolutely. It's going to be a fun one out there. Trig, what do you have loaded up for tonight? And I know that you're looking forward to getting out Vegas. When do you head out, brother?
I fly out on Thursday. I have a pretty long flight, not quite as long as Brandon's, but I got to go across the country, so it's going to take me probably most of the day Thursday. Not the flights out of Albany, New York are not great, to say the least. And I didn't feel like getting myself to a bigger airport, so I've got connections, and it'll take a lot of the day. But I think Vegas time will be out there like Thursday afternoon. But as far as last week is concerned, I had a okay week. I think it probably came out a little bit ahead when it was all said and done. But I hit another 5% baseball play on the Texas Rangers on Saturday. I'm now 11-2. My last 13 5% plays, and I have another one tonight in Major League Baseball, and it's Monday, which means it's just $9. I also have a 4% KBO play up for $9 as well. So, looking forward to that and seeing you guys. I think Thursday or Friday, we'll be there all weekend.
Dan, you're muted. Or Dan, Dan is frozen. All right. I will take over, and why don't we just Dan is frozen. Let's go with our first segments for the show. I'll go first, and my first segment is bullpens. So I'll take over. If you could throw the graphic up. I broke down, it's really simple actually. It's just bullpen stats, and so I'm not going to spend too much time going over it, but if you throw the graphic up, I will go over. There we go. So, on the left is the teams, and we got the ERA, whips, and I always look at K9, especially in KBO, because striking people out is really important in the KBO, because this is like a pinball league where the league averages 9.1 runs per game. So, there's going to be a lot of runs. So if you get pitchers or even bullpens who can strike people out, it's really it's really important because that means bats are not hitting the ball. Surprisingly, though, the best strikeout team here is Lotte. They have an 8.2 K per nine, but they rank last in ERA and WHIP. So that's kind of a dichotomy there. Looking at the best bullpens, LG, KT, top of the crop. Cream of the crop, shall I say. Kiwoom is up there. And then you got the crappers at the bottom. This is obviously Lotte, Samsung, and Kia are at the bottom. So make a screenshot of that. Those are the bullpen stats as of now. Obviously, they change every day. But I do use these stats when I'm doing my capping. Teams like KT, LG, they can hold a lead if they've got it towards the end of the game. And teams like Samsung, they always blow leads at the end of the game. So keep that in mind when you are making your bets. That's all for me. Hey, after this show, I will be on a big old jet airliner. Don't take me too far away. Gotta love that, Steve Miller.
Apologies for the technical difficulties on my end, but I still made it back in time to hear the song referenced by Tokyo Brandon. So I guess lucky me on that end. And it's funny, we got storms rolling through the Philadelphia area for me last week when we had our show on Tuesday. We were talking about storms. We were talking about weird schedules, how it would affect some teams. And Trig, did you see anything that kind of affected teams in the short term, or maybe something that you're tracking moving forward with some of these teams?
Yeah, well, Dan, I think it was an equalizer last week more than anything because there was so few games. Now, not every team got completely affected, but like the LG Twins played 2 games last week, right? Like there's teams that, Hanwha played 3. No, the only team to play more than 4, I think Lotte played 5 games and maybe Kiwoom played 5 games. So it was a short week and we had some rain the previous week. And I really do think it's an equalizer for some of the teams that have less pitching depth. You look at a team like the NC Dinos, they went 3-1 last week, but I really think the rainouts really helped them immensely because they're struggling with pitching depth right now. But then you see a team like the Kia Tigers, who that should have helped. I talked about them on last week's show. They did blow out Lotte, like I said they might in the Saturday game, but they only go 1-3. So it was, and Brandon, referenced that his week wasn't as great. Well, it was kind of a wacky week with the weather and it was very unpredictable, I would say, with sort of how it played out. We saw Samsung go 2-2. The Lotte Giants went 4-1, and they were missing a ton of players. So, it was a weird week last week. We're back to normal here, and I think that probably helps the better teams. Like I'm just going to make a blanket statement. I think your LGs, KTs, SSG, Kiwoom, and maybe even Doosan, who has a deeper sort of pitching now that they've got Brandon Waddell in, and they really have like all their starters and a respectable bullpen. I think those are the teams that are probably going to do better this week now that, especially later in the week, now that we're back to normal, and all these teams are going to have to roll out 5 starters again because they really haven't, for a couple weeks now. Just some news and notes, like, NC, they're still without Changmo Koo. They did get an import starter, Matt Dermody, but who knows when he's going to be ready to go. So, something I referenced on the last show that actually came to fruition, I said there was a great in-game betting opportunity on Friday with the NC Dinos. Right when they took Drew Rucinski out of the game and they were trailing, I said in-game over was probably a great bet. And sure enough, the Doosan Bears blew up that bullpen. So something I'll give you as far as actionable info, and this is probably not going to come into effect till later in the week, but the NC Dinos, they're likely without Koo, and they're likely without Dermody. I don't know when Dermody's going to pitch, but I'd imagine it's not until later in the week, if at all. They might wait until next week because they're trying to get him acclimated to the league. NC could have a big-time pitcher shortage come like Friday or Saturday. So it's really something to keep an eye on there because I think the same thing. You might want to look at overs, and you might want to look at fading NC later in the week once they've burned through their starters and their high-leverage relievers. The final thing I'll leave in this section, the KT Wiz should get Becco King back later this week, which would put them back to full strength and make them, without a doubt, a play-on team for me going forward. So kind of all over the place today, but that was just some fallout from last week's sort of crazy weather-shortened, weather-impacted week.
So a little recap on what we saw, what you can potentially get moving forward, and maybe some money-making opportunities on or against teams, all thanks to Adam Trigger right at the top. Guys, let's get into our featured game for today. We want to take a look at this Kia Tigers and SSG Landers game because, this Kia team needs a tune-up badly. 3 wins in their last 10, so I don't know. They're going to be going up against SSG, a 160 money line favorite. Does the bounce back start Tuesday morning? I'll start with you, Brandon.
Well, this is a tough team to bounce back against because they got Kim Kwang-hyun on the mound, and as Adam has alluded to in previous shows, he's a Korean guy, but he's basically one of their import pitchers because he's a major league level pitcher. He pitched for the Cardinals, and he actually didn't get denied a contract this year. He just decided to stay in Korea due to uncertainty from the pandemic. So they have a top level pitcher here who is equal or better than an import pitcher. He's got what's his whip? 104 whip throughout the season. And against Kia, he's faced him 2 times, 0 earned runs, and a 9-1 strikeout to bases on balls ratio. So he's unbelievably good, but Kia's lineup, it's hard to bet against Kia's lineup because they're whacking the ball. But actually, in the last 7 days, SSG is actually averaging more runs. They have 4.8 runs a game, where Kia has 4.2. So advantage starting pitching, SSG. Advantage run producing, at least recent form, SSG. And then the bullpen, obviously SSG has a slight advantage there. So every category is a check mark for SSG. I made my notes here before the line came out. I said I like SSG here, but the line will probably be minus 160, so I'm not going to bet it. Is exactly what I wrote here. And alas, the lines come out and it's minus 160 as expected. Thomas Pannone for Kia, he's not a bad pitcher. In his last 3, he's given up 2, 2, and 1. SSG will probably get him for 2 or 3 in the first 5 innings. The question is, can Kia get to Kim? Probably Kim is good. He had a couple of hiccups. He had one game where he gave up 4 runs, and I was on him that game. In his last 5, he's given up 2, 2, 3, and 0. So obviously, I like SSG here. The price is a little high for me. I would bet it if it was like a minus 120 or something, but you're probably never going to get that with Kim on the mound. So I will stay off of it, but I do like SSG.
So like an SSG, but maybe not any value there with that price. Trig, what do you think here in game 1, the minus 160? Any thoughts on the total either, sitting at 8, or is this just kind of a, hey, let's learn how this series is going to go kind of game? What are you thinking, Trig?
Well, I actually have thoughts on both. First, I wanted to love Kia in this spot against the spread, against the plus 1.5, but there's a couple things, very specific, glaring things that are going to keep me off of it. The first is being Thomas Pannone is solid, but they asked a lot from him last time out. He threw 114 pitches. They needed all 7 of those innings. They clearly stretched him because they really have some serious bullpen issues right now. And if there's ever a day to back Kia, this current Kia team with the bullpen in the state it's in, it would be tomorrow off of the off day. But my problem here is I just don't know if I want to trust Pannone after he threw 114 pitches, because that's a lot of that, for someone that really hasn't started regularly all season and has only really had a few starts, to have to come out. I think he threw 104 and then 114. So that's concerning to me. And if they don't get length out of him, that's not good, because this Kia bullpen right now is very, very depleted. So that brings me to, I guess, my lean in this game, which would be the over. And the reason I lean over is because as good as Hyun Kim has been, I think, and this has nothing to do with him per se, but just as any pitcher, once you get enough exposure to a guy, like it doesn't matter how good they are. Like professional hitters are going to hit that person, and so I think he's gone from like virtually unhittable at the beginning of the season to a solid ace in this league, specifically because they've seen him a lot. And if you look at his last 5 starts, 4 of those 5 starts, he's given up 2 earned runs or more. And he's about to face a Kia offense that, while they didn't hit last week, at least not consistently, this is still one of the top offenses in the league. So if I add those 2 things together, the fact that Kia finally will probably break through against Kim, and the fact Pannone might be a little bit tired and not give Kia the necessary length, and then I look at these 2 bullpens. The Kia bullpen has their issues. The SSG bullpen, they've got a lot of good arms, but they're not necessarily good relievers. They've got like 7 starters, but they're not quite sure which one fits into what bullpen role. I'd be really surprised if this doesn't get to at least 8 runs. So the best thing I can find in this game, which is always tough to really, go all in with 2 guys like Kim and Pannone on the mound, I see some value in the over. I wouldn't be surprised if the offenses were on display in this game tomorrow.
So some leans that we're looking at our featured game there, Kia Tigers SSG. You can hop in the comments, let us know your thoughts on the featured matchup for today. But Adam, I want to throw it back your way because you wanted to dive a little bit deeper. Sure, that's game 1, but how do you see the rest of this series shaking out between Kia and SSG?
Yeah, so it's interesting, Dan. I first want to point out, and we're down to 2-game series now. So that's something you're going to see going forward. I don't really understand why they do it. But this is like a KBO thing. You get to mid-August, and all of a sudden, we've been playing 3-game series all year, and it's like 3 2-game series for a period of time going forward. So that's what you got this week. So I'll kind of give you an overview of the week as far as Kia is concerned, because I think there's a very simple way to bet on the Kia Tigers this week. Okay, so they start with 2 against SSG at home. They play 2 against NC Dinos at home, and then they're on the road for 2 against the KT Wiz. The way I'm going to look to play Kia, I would look to play on them when their bullpen is rested. If their bullpen gets taxed or used, let's say Pannone doesn't go very deep and they've got to use relievers for 4 or 5 innings, I would then look to go against them. But I'd also think the over is probably a better bet in most scenarios, especially when you look at this week in general. So just looking at Kia and SSG, I don't mind fading Kia, but SSG is worse on the road. So in that series, I'd probably look to back Kia or try to find a spot that I like the over, which is kind of what I spoke about for tomorrow's game. Kia versus NC, I talked about it at the top of the show. NC might be in worse shape than Kia come that series in terms of available pitching, because NC has some big-time issues in their rotation right now that's going to cause them to pull guys from the bullpen and make starts. So you got to do a little of your own work here, but just keep an eye on who pitches the night before and see what the usage is like, because you're probably going to be able to let that guide you into a play. Now, Kia goes on the road this weekend to play the KT Wiz, who will likely have Baekho Kang, arguably the best Korean-born hitter in the league, back in their lineup. So I could only really look to fade Kia there on the road at KT with depleted pitching, or, once again, overs. Because, especially in the case of Kia SSG and Kia NC, the bullpens are hittable. KT, on the other hand, they have a great bullpen, so that's something to keep in mind. But I think if you're looking at Kia this week, that's a great way to sort of evaluate them as a team. And I'd say more often than not, Kia will be playing high-scoring games.
Little way to bet on Kia moving forward here, not just in their one game against the SSG Landers, but as they move forward throughout the rest of the week. Brandon, before you get into your breakdown, we're going to talk a little NPB Japanese baseball. Did you have any insider thoughts of maybe what the change reasoning is for the 2-game series? Is it kind of built in, in case there's, COVID delays or because I was wondering the same thing when I was looking at the schedule. So I didn't just know if you had any more insight on that before we get into your breakdown.
I have no idea why they do that. They don't do it in the Japanese league. The Japanese league is back to 3-3-3. I have no idea why. Maybe they're expecting rainouts or something. I have no idea. It's quite strange because Asian.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering too. If you have any, if you have any thoughts, hop in the comments. Let us know because even the experts scratching their heads on that one. Brandon, Japanese baseball, battle of the two in the Pacific, man. Top two teams. We got the Seibu Lions and the Fukuoka SoftBank Hawks. That's your breakdown, and I'll send the floor to you before my internet decides to give out again.
Okay, so back to Japanese baseball. Here's my Hanshin Tigers jersey. Love this. Pretty sweet. Anyway, I'm breaking down the SoftBank Hawks and the Seibu Lions. And the reason I picked this out, what I like to do when I'm doing series for this show is I like to, I'll break down my numbers and everything, but then I want to pick out one that has like a real outlier number in the team matchup. And this one has that. As I've said in past shows, Japanese game scores tend to be a little bit lower than in Korea. In Korea, the average game score is 9.1. And actually, I reran my numbers, and in Japanese, they're a little higher than I thought. The average game score in Japan is 7.1. It wasn't 5. It was 7.1. So 7.1. Okay. So I put these two teams together, and the average game score between SoftBank and Seibu is 5.3. And so I dig a little deeper, and I'm like, I wonder why. Because both lineups are like fairly good. So here we go. We've got the number 1 bullpen versus the number 4 bullpen. That's out of 12 teams. And we've got two teams that rank 5th and 8th out of 12 teams in hitting. So that's pretty much why we have that number. In this series, I'm going to be looking at unders. So for the Seibu Lions and SoftBank Hawks, they're going to play a 3-game series starting tonight. If you see any 7.5s, I would recommend betting the under. I would probably even take a 6.5, although I would bet less on that. If you see any team totals at 3.5, especially Seibu Lions, I would bet the under in that as well. So that's how I'm breaking this series down. Look for a lot of unders in this series.
It's under time between the Hawks and the Lions in Japanese baseball action, that according to Tokyo Brandon. Both of our experts have packages and plays loaded right this moment, and you can grab them for just $9 on $9 Monday. A 5%er in the MLB for our man Trig, and a 3-pack for our guy Tokyo Brandon. Brandon, I'll let you bat lead off here since you're staying in Japanese baseball, and we'll let Trig shut it down for our best bets. The floor is yours, brother.
Okay, so we're not going to have a show later in the week. This is our last show because we're going to have the meet and greet on Friday, and everyone's going to be flying into Vegas probably on Thursday, etc. So this is our last show for a week or so. So here's my best bet. I am all over. We're going back to Japan, to the Japan League. I am all over the Hiroshima Carp and the under 3.5. We're taking on the Chunichi Dragons today, and Yanagi is the starter for Chunichi. And Yanagi, he's hit a bit of a rough spot this year. He was an elite pitcher the last 2 years. This year he's hit quite a bump in the road. However, against the Hiroshima Carp, in 3 starts, he has a 0.53 whip, and he's been incredible. Chunichi's bullpen not doing as good this year as they have been, but Chunichi is notoriously an under team, and it's a Tuesday. And as I've broken down in past shows, Tuesday numbers always tend to be lower on Tuesday because the bullpens are rested. Teams get to use their best arms out of the pen. And so I really like the Hiroshima Carp under 3.5. And I ran my numbers. I do like 4 different projections. I have 3.3, 3.5, and 3.6 for the Carp. None of them are even close to 4. So I don't think they're going to get 4 here. Hiroshima Carp under 3.5 is my best bet for tonight.
And Brandon has had a read on those Hiroshima Carp. This is like we should just call it, instead of the best bet segment, the Hiroshima Carp segment, because we've had overs, we've had unders. This week we're going under 3.5 for the Hiroshima Carp.
Yes.
And just to clarify as well, the meet and greet going to be Saturday evening, 5 to 9. You can go there on Friday. Look for the guy wearing the Asian baseball jerseys. It'll be Brandon walking around, but I can't guarantee anybody else will be out there. But Saturday, 5 to 9 at the Westgate, going to be drinks, fun, all your favorite WagerTalk personalities. It's going to be a great time over there at the Westgate. So make your plans and make it on out. I know Trig will be out there. I know Trig has a 5%er loaded right now, and I also know he has a best bet for you here on Asian Baseball Today.
Yeah, so as Dan said, 5% play goes in a little bit less than an hour in Major League Baseball tonight, so still time to head over and get that for $9, which is a great deal. You know, it's a $35 play, but it's Monday, and so we put it on sale for $9. So check that out in the next 45 minutes or so. And I have a best bet, or I have a 4% play in Korean baseball. The one I'm going to give you, I really do like, probably just as much as one of these ones I give out. But the price is a little bit high. And so I'm going to reserve that for a show best bet here. And that's the LG Twins money line. And what it really comes back to for me is I have Samsung rated as the worst team in this league, and I it's not close to me right now. At least until David Buchanan comes back, the Samsung Lions are the worst team in the KBO, and I think that you can basically bet against them, whenever the price allows you to do so. I think this is a good spot for the LG Twins too, because as I alluded to at the top of the show, they played 2 games last week, which is odd. On one hand, it's a nice reset for them, but on the other hand, they kind of came out flat on Sunday, and I cashed a 4% play playing against them on Sunday with the NC Dinos. I think they wake up a little bit, and now they start a new week with Adam Plutko on the mound, who he's been as dominant as they come in this league over the past 2-3 months. His ERA is under 2 on the season. And the one guy I don't really like to bet against on Samsung is Albert Suarez. But I'll tell you, the LG Twins and Tokyo Brandon, I'll keep shouting him out because he said this months ago. They're probably the most complete team in this league. They defensively, they rate out, I think, the second best team in this league. The bullpen is number 1. Plutko and Casey Kelly are 2 elite starters. And Rabel Garcia has been a great addition to this lineup. There's no pitcher that they really can't hit. They do everything well. So LG Twins -165 here seems like the right side. And I'll leave you with one more really good stat. The LG Twins have not lost back-to-back games since late June. It's now August 15th. And they lost over the weekend to the NC Dinos. So LG Twins, a little bit expensive, but it's probably the right side. LG Twins -165 will be the best bet for the show.
Dan, you're muted.
A little spot play and a little bit of a trend play there for the LG Twins as they're taking on Samsung. Huge thanks to the guys. Again, it's the LG Twins on the money line for the best bet, and it's the Hiroshima Carp going under the 3.5 for Tokyo Brandon. Brandon's got to go catch a flight. Trig and I need to rest our livers to get ready for Vegas. So it is time to say goodbye to you until next week. Again, hope to see you out at the Westgate 5 to 9 this coming Saturday. We'll all be there. Our guy behind the scenes, Robert, going to be hanging out with us as well. So it's going to be a fun time out there at the Westgate. So until then, for Adam Trigger, for Tokyo Brandon, I'm Dan Alexander, and we'll see you next time on Asian Baseball Today.
The Gold Sheet has been the industry standard for providing NFL and college football betting information for the last 6 decades. WagerTalk is very proud to have acquired the Gold Sheet 3 years ago, and we took what was already an iconic product and made it even better. Get the football Gold Sheet for the entire season for only $129 by heading to goldsheet.com. Gold Sheet game write-ups are among the best in the industry, and we've now combined them with detailed statistical analysis in an easy-to-read, game-to-game format. Early bird pricing expires at midnight on Sunday, August 14th. Sign up now at goldsheet.com to subscribe for the entire NFL and college football season at less than $5 per issue. Don't miss out.